tonight was a first in like 6 weeks. I have a routine that I have done for the last couple of years, ever since I've had this Shedifus, where, my husband goes to bed 9:30. He has to leave for work by 5 in the morning. So he's got to go to bed early. So I come out here at about 9 and I have this routine. Neville's is to drink water when I'm trying to film something because reasons. No, I come out here, I do my Bible study, I work in my prayer journal, and then I sit down and I read for a bit, and then I write for a bit. I have this routine. And I haven't done any of that as a routine since November 30th / December 1st. And it felt, hello, Neville. It felt so good. I came out here. Of course, it was almost midnight when I came out because Kevin now goes to bed around midnight-ish. He tries to stay up as late as he can to make sure he sleeps, which is great for him, but that means I don't get to go to bed until like 8 now. And my body doesn't like it. My body has a clock and it likes its clock. And so I am dragging these days really bad. But it also gives me a little bit of less time. I don't understand why, but it just does. It does. Well, it does because, it's like 3 hours later, but I only go to bed 2 hours later. So I lose an hour, but it feels like I lose a lot more time than that, probably because I'm not as effective after like 6 in the morning. But it's just, still, I came out here tonight. This Shedifus is a disaster movie. I should have done a pan. Maybe I'll do that when I'm done here if I remember. It's a disaster movie. I have got stacks of books that need to go back into that back room, and other stuff needs to come in here. And I got fabric draped all over anything I can drape it on to dry because I'm going to be making a quilt and just, all kinds of fun stuff. But so I thought, I'm gonna give you guys, an update. So I came out and I opened my. It was so neat. I opened my desk and pulled out my Bible. You saw the little clip, and I did what I always do. I wrote the scriptures from that, the usually about 8 to 10 verses. I wrote them out, answered the questions. I worked in my prayer journal. I haven't touched my prayer journal since actually before that date, but anyway, so I did that, and then I opened my planner and I was like, oh my, that hurt. And at first I felt really guilty because, I look at this like dream calendar of fun things to do for December. And of course I didn't get to do any of that. I was really kind of mad at myself because I was bummed when I looked at it, and I was like, it was like, it kind of hit hard. And I thought, well, why? I mean, seriously, it's just stuff. Who cares? And then I realized after, really kind of reflecting and working it out with the Lord, I'm like, okay, God, what's wrong with me? It's like, actually, I'm grieving why, that's really the why I couldn't is what really bothered me. Then I felt a little better, It's like, okay. But, I sat down here and I pulled out the books I'm reading, and I'll talk about that in a second. And then, I read, my 5 chapters, actually only 4 in Final Resting Place. So I read my 5 chapters in each one. And it was just like, this feels normal. I love how normal this feels. It's just so cool. So I think I'm going to be able to come out here every night. I stayed in the house a bit longer than I thought I needed to because, it's the Shedifus is halfway across our backyard. So if I get a call from my husband, I have to go all the way to the house and all the way across the house to get to him. So if he falls or something, he's stuck. So I didn't want to do this until I knew that he was steady and that getting in and out of bed was no problem and all the stuffness. But I have read a little bit, not much. I mean, this is so weird for me. Last year by this time, I think I'd read 15 books. And here it is the 15th. And I've read 3, I think. 2, 3. I haven't read much. I'm in the middle of stuff, but I haven't read. Tonight, I just started my Chantal Reads All Day book. I mean, it's like crazy. So first up, I'll tell you what I have read. So I read, okay, it's called A Wreath of Roses. I can never remember her name, by Karen Baum Menuhin. It's a Heathcliff Lennox mystery. And I gotta say, guys, so at the beginning of this thing, I wasn't enjoying it as much as I usually do. And I'm kind of wondering if it has nothing to do with the book, because that happened with another one that I'll talk about in a minute. So it might just be me. But I wasn't enjoying it as much. It just didn't have, I mean, there's something really cool. I mean, he's a little sardonic. Just, I don't know. Heathcliff Lennox is a really neat character. He's English nobility of some sort. He's, in the beginning, he's not married and he's really awkward with women. And then now he's married and he's still awkward with women. It's so cute. And he babbles when he gets nervous, and he everywhere he goes, he takes his dog and his cat, and it's such a hoot, and his butler, and it's just such a hoot. It's so much fun. But this one, Scotland Yard asked them to go. That's right. He has an ex Scotland Yard detective that is his friend, and Scotland Yard asked him to go check it because something seemed off. This man died, and his will is stipulates that there's you have to, the parable of the talents. We're giving you this much money, and now you go figure out what you're going to do with it. It's such a neat premise. I just loved this. And so it's kind of you're going to fight for the title. And this man has is it 5 or 6 illegitimate children? And, his legitimate heir died years ago with his wife. And so that's the premise that you go into this whole story with, is that, you're there. These people are vying for the thing, but 2 women have died in the same manner. And why? Doesn't really make sense. So Scotland Yard sends him in, and then there's this whole thing that unfolds. And I called it. Because I don't trust myself right now. We watch mysteries every night. I don't catch them all. Right now I'm not catching stuff like I usually do. I'm like, do you think that's that? My husband's like, yeah, probably. And then I'm like, no, a little bit later I'm like, no, that's totally ridiculous. Where'd I come up with that? And he's like, sounded good to me. And he doesn't catch things the way I usually do. And so I keep getting stuff wrong until all of a sudden my brain kind of clicks back in. So it's taking me much longer to do stuff. This one I caught it right away. And I kind of think you're supposed to. But in the end, it turned out really good. For a bit there, I was just like, it's lost some of its, appeal. There's that characterization that I love so much, and the interaction and the banter. It just kind of was falling flat. But I think it was me and not the book, but I don't know. So I think I gave it 4 stars, and that might be a tad generous if it was flat in actuality. But I didn't want to go down to 3 because it had that great last quarter to third. It was really a lot of fun. I really had fun with that. And if I'm wrong, so I wasn't willing to go that far. The end made it worth 4 stars to me. But if I read this, 6 months ago, it might have gotten 5. I don't know. But I gave it 4 because it's how I felt at the time. And that's what I make myself do, And then I read, let me find it. Because this guy, P.J. Fitzsimmons, he loves alliteration. Oh, we're going to talk about that. Reckoning at the Riviera Royale. And this is one of the Anti-Beaujolais mysteries by P.J. Fitzsimmons. I think I said his name already. But anyway, this one, so one of the fun things that Fitzsimmons does, he uses, all the chapters have a title. And, sometimes chapter titles can be, they can be giveaways, and that's no fun. And sometimes they can be just, what's the point? He does this either alliterative or rhyming thing with them. And it gives you a hint of what's coming, but it doesn't give away what's coming, which is kind of cool. This time, those and he'll have these little spots in the book where it gets really alliterative or rhyming. And usually I find them really clever and I really enjoy them. I don't know if this one, I'm just not in the right headspace for it, and so I'm not liking it, or if he like went too far on it. I'm not sure. But in this one, it just was a bit much. And it wasn't so much that it's like I won't read another one again, but it definitely took a star down because it was too much for me right now. I just don't know. I don't know if it's just where my head is right now or if it was actually a problem. But because two of them had issues at the same time, I kind of feel like maybe it's me instead of them. We shall see. Especially because an audiobook I'm reading, I'm having the same trouble with. So anyway, I don't know. The mystery was pretty good. He goes into it with the idea that someone has committed a murder unrelated to the murder that happens there. And he's there to find out if this person actually murdered somebody. And at the end, the way that whole story goes about, I kind of suspected where it was going. But I didn't. But I did, but I didn't. I can't. The problem is that I can't explain why without giving stuff away. But what I can say is that I almost wonder if he wasn't bamboozled by someone at the end of it. And we're going to see some more come out later. It doesn't fit what we know about the person. And yet, it can. That's the best I can say. So, it was good. It wasn't great, but it was good. It was like, okay. I especially aside from those annoying bits, the mystery was good. The fun. I just these Auntie Beaujolais, if you like P.G. Wodehouse's Jeeves and Wooster, it has a very similar feel. It has, the silly aristocracy that's pretty flippant about things. That's all there. So take it for what you will. But then but that's all I've actually read. Goodreads keeps saying 3, and I can't find a third unless it's counting Clock Tower Bound. I always use it like as an update for how things are going, and I finally marked it as done. It took me long enough, right? And it's like, oh yeah, let's take care of that. So I did that. Yeah. But then, so I've been listening to, or I've tried to listen to, I shouldn't say I've been listening to. So I've tried to listen to The Narrowboat Summer by Anna Youngson. Anna Youngson, The Narrowboat Summer. This is the gal who wrote Meet Me at the Museum, which I really, really enjoyed. And the more I think about it, the more I really like how the author handled a sort of emotional affair, because it wasn't intended to be one. And when the woman figured out that that's what had happened, she cut ties. And I was like, you know what? Dad burn it. That's what should happen. And this isn't even Christian fiction, but that's what should happen. You discover that you've sent your heart in a direction you're not supposed to. You should cut ties if you're married and you've made vows and the whole 9 yardness. So, the more I thought about it, I was like, you're kind of being a little bit harsh here, because that's actually what should happen. But this Narrowboat Summer, I am so not interested. I keep starting it and I'll listen to, I don't know, probably the equivalent of a page or two, and I turn it off. It's not grabbing me. But I don't want to give up. And yet, it only has a 3.79 rating on Goodreads, so maybe it's just not that great. I'm kind of sad. It's got a beautiful cover. I love that cover. But I'm kind of sad about that. And I'm also listening to Ascendant by Isaac Yorks. And so far, I think there was a word that I didn't appreciate in it. Backing up. PJ Fitzsimmons, I've never heard a word, and I think I read him say that he won't have any inappropriate words. The Heathcliff Lennox, I think there's always one or two that I'm like, really? Why? But it's never just constant or anything. And I don't remember him misusing God. I don't think that's what, and considering it's a Britishy kind of thing, that tends to be a thing. I don't remember that being when he did, but I could be totally off on that. So anyway, had to go back and do that real quick. Ascendant is epic fantasy. It's a long one. It's like 27 hours or something like that. It's a long, long book. It's flintlock dystopian. It's got metal and fabric magic. It's kind of strange. I'm just going to pause for a second. A magic system and magic in books isn't the same as witchcrafty magic, you calling on the power of something outside yourself. You know, all it means is that they have a capability of doing something that we don't have today. So science fiction has a magic system. It's that kind of thing. So this is kind of like Lord of the Rings or Brandon Sanderson's Allomancy with the metal stuff. This one is they can control fabric and metal, flip them. So if there's a battle and someone has a silk ribbon, I think it's actually silk, not just fabric, it has like this silk ribbon, they can turn it into metal and use it as a weapon. Or if someone is, throwing a knife at them, they can turn that knife into silk so it doesn't hurt them. But it doesn't work as like this all-powerful thing. There are limits so far. As far as when I talked to Isaac York, he said it was definitely a hard magic system. So it has rules and it has to follow the rules, and you can figure out the rules. So far, I'm only a chapter in, or two, maybe I'm 2 chapters in. I'm not sure. Only a little bit in, and so far I'm enjoying it. There was a word. I think it was the word for illegitimate child. Don't quote me on that. And I remember being so stunned by it that I missed the context. It may have just meant that illegitimate child. It may not have been used as swearing. I don't know. So I'm listening and I'm paying attention in case we get some more. It is clearly, you can see parallels in what is happening here in this world versus what is happening in our world. And he talked about how this was, part of what he wrote and why. And the episode was really, really fascinating to talk to this guy. But you can see it. I mean, I saw it right away, and I think I would have seen it even if I hadn't talked to him. But I would not have known if I was right in what I'm saying. Does that make sense? I need a drink. Can you hear me? I'm getting... So anyway, I'm listening to that. And then I'm still reading The Pilgrim Inn. And tonight there were a couple... I think this is the second one. And that's the T.S. Eliot one. I don't want the T.S. Eliot. It's these. It's this one right here. Oh, wow. This was so pretty. Some people express loveliness just by loving. I thought that was so cool. I just loved it so much. And then it says over here, people talk a lot of nonsense sometimes about the old being a burden to the young. But in my experience, it's the other way around. It's the old who do all the propping and sustaining. And I was like, yeah. Because, yeah. So I gotta remember not to forget to take this in the house because he's got physical therapy tomorrow. And I will need that book because I get to read for an hour. That one, right now, so all along, so this is book 2 in that Eliot trilogy, the Dame Rosé, and the first book, this guy David, his brother, and I'm really confused because I remembered it as his brother and his brother's wife. They had divorced, and he was now seeing his the wife, Nadine, and they were going to get married. And then grandma gets a hold of him and says, this isn't right. You should not do this. She needs to go back to her husband and she needs to work this out. And this is not, you can't do this. And she told a whole story about, the mistakes she had made. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful reconciliation when this wife says, okay, I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to go to India. I'm going to work things out with my ex-husband. And it was told in such a way, I'm certain that it said they were divorced. But in this one, it kind of, I feel like it's trying to imply that they weren't divorced, they were just separated. And at that point, that would make me really mad about the first one, even more so, except that they did the right thing. They walked away. They said, we're going to, she didn't have biblical grounds for divorce. She was bored with her husband and wanted a more exciting life. That's why she left him. And that's where the divorce came in. And it was wrong. And so they're together, they're running this in together, she's trying to learn to appreciate him. She gets ugly, and she reminds me a little bit of the wife in, I'm telling you, Gooch has these patterns, but she reminds me a little bit of the wife in The Rosemary Tree. And I can see where it's all going to come together, and I can see what Gooch is trying to do. She really does a good job of showing how ugly we in our hearts are and the right way to handle those situations. And I love that. But right now, tonight, some other guy is now making the moves on this Nadine. And I'm like, why are you doing this? Why does it need to have so much? I mean, it's one thing with the whole, because I think David is her husband's nephew. So, I mean, there is a few years difference. She's a lot younger than her husband and a couple years older than him. So, but it's, I could handle because I understood the point. I understood what she was doing. But why she's bringing this other guy in, and I'm like, I don't understand. So now I'm getting mad at it. I'm just like, I don't know what to do. So I'm hoping it's going to get resolved. Nadine is learning things, and I'm really loving seeing what she has to learn and seeing her kind of give up some of herself. That's really cool. I just hope it keeps getting better, because right now I'm really ticked off. And then Vinyl Resting Place, I read this is the first day I'm reading it, so I only read 4 chapters. And then, so I read 2 chapter 5, and then tomorrow I'll read 2 chapter 10, and then 2 chapter. And if I want to read more, then I go to chapter tomorrow if I do 10 chapters. But I always read in like 5 chapter blocks. And this one, so the grand opening for their Sip and Spin record store coffee shop thing. They have this party, and at the end they're cleaning up, and there's a body in there. And this is the only reason I'm telling you this. It's a mystery, so I don't want to tell too much, but there's something in here. So just before she finds the body, an old friend of hers, she sees him, and they go get pizza because the taco truck is gone and she's starving. So they go get it, they reconnect. Great friendship. You can tell she's not really interested, and I can't tell about him. And so I'm like, good, that's nice. Then when the body is found, ex-boyfriend shows up. And I'm like, great. So I think that we have a strong chance of a love triangle on this sucker. I'm not always opposed to them, but this feels like the kind that I don't like. I don't care if 2 people are interested in one person, and that person, it has nothing to do with that person. That person, that she can't help it, he can't help it, whatever. That doesn't really bother me, because that's life. But when you've got one person torn between 2 people, I don't like it, and I have a feeling that's going to happen. So the only reason I'm saying that is if you don't like it and you keep seeing this book around like I did, you might want to hold off until we find out if there's gonna be, I'm just like, sorry. So we find out if there's gonna be something happening that way. Just giving you a warning. Okay. Then that's really all I've been reading. except for, and I forgot to show this when I did my book haul, but I saw Alistair Begg's Truth for Life daily devotional. I don't usually do devotionals, but I was like, you know what? Again, I did this a couple of years ago and it worked. I'm not very alert when I first wake up, but I would love to start the day with scripture. So I was like, maybe I should just read, a couple pages like this, kind of get my mindset and thinking about scripture, and so that I can read it when I get more awake. I was like, okay. So I went to get it. It was only $8. So I went to get it, and then they had another one. So I'm going to send this one to Shalise, and then next year we'll swap. But there's just, 365 daily devotions. So I'm thinking I'm going to like it. So I did get those, but I forgot to share them. And then, what do we have here? Oh, Cat Among the Pigeons. This is me for Chantal. I think we're supposed to be reading that this month, and I haven't even opened it. I haven't even cracked the cover. And then Victoria Cottage by D.E. Stevenson. I found out this goes with some other series of books. I can't remember which one, but it goes with Music in the Hills. Remember I said there was Music in the Hills? Oh, I found out that with it, this is the first book, Music in the Hills is the second, and Winter and Rough Weather are the third. So I went ahead and ordered this, since I had to get something for the printer anyway. So that came in. When I was looking at that printer of Udell's, I ran across The Calling of Dan Matthews, which I don't own. I think I've read it. The more I look at it, stuff in here, I'm just glancing through, and I'm like, yeah, this is familiar. This is Harold Bell Wright, who wrote Shepherd of the Hills and that printer of Udell's and a few others. But so anyway, I had been looking at different ones, and the person who had listed it sent me an offer to get it for $8. So I said, okay, I will do that. I hadn't really planned to buy it right now, but for $8, I absolutely would. I know this time is coming. I'm going to need to read this one. I thought I owned it, but I went and looked on Amazon and it said I didn't, so I don't know why I didn't. So I bought it because I will want to read it. And I figured if I'm going to be ordering stuff, I should just do it all at once and save shipping. Not that they ever do that because people. So then I found an inexpensive copy of Celia's House. Did not spend very much money on it at all. So I got it. And so Celia's House is the one about the house that gets left to someone surprisingly. Everybody's a little shocked at who she leaves the house to. But look at this. I thought that was awesome. And look at this. I can't take this off because it's tearing the dust jacket. Seriously, people. Why? Why would you do this to me? Because you hate me. That's why. And then I also got the English Air, which I think goes with... But listen to this. A gentle, touching romance. But Stevenson's romances I can take, so whatever. Set against the last months of peace and the first chaotic months of World War II, The English Air is one of D.E. Stevenson's most poignant and profound novels. It is the story of Franz von Hayden, son of a high Nazi official and an English mother who died when he was a child, and Wynne Braithwaite, the lovely English girl whose family he visits on the eve of the war. Franz's secret mission is to ascertain the exact temper and fortitude of the English people for German intelligence, but he finds to his surprise and confusion that the people have a strength and grace he never expected. I'm just going to stop there. So that sounds really cool. And now I want to read it like right now. But it was one of the ones, anytime I see a Stevenson on eBay that looks like it's, in a very good condition at a very low price, I snag it. And this is one I hadn't had. So I grabbed it. And then I saw this mentioned somewhere. Look at that cover. Isn't that just stunning? I saw this mentioned somewhere, Nightfall in the Garden of Deep Time. And I don't know. Look at the chapters. I mean, it's just a beautifully designed book. But anyway, I didn't know anything about it. I read it and I went, It says, you're invited to a timeless party in a secret garden. Expect to come back transformed. Casey Willoughby doesn't have time to pursue her writing dreams. Imagination doesn't pay the bills, and she's busy saving her beautiful bookshop from online competition, hotel developers, and the sneaking suspicion that nobody reads anymore. Not to mention all those voices telling her she doesn't have talent. But then the vacant lot of weeds next door starts to shimmer. I'll just stop right there. I'm not sure what to expect from it, but I'm kind of excited. And then, okay, so I remember how I said I wanted to do the Buzzwordathon? Yeah. The first one is there, as in the place, there, as in possession, or there, as in they are. Yeah. Well, that they are is what got me. So I didn't have anything. So I bought They Turned the World Upside Down by Charles Martin. This was going to be my Buzzwordathon book for the month. And yeah. So it's not there, or there. Nope, no, it's not. Although my copy of this book got some glue on it, which I just fixed. But anyway, so yeah, I'm looking forward to reading this book, but this is not my Buzzwordathon book now. So instead, I think I may have still messed it up. I don't believe this. I don't believe this. I think I may have done it again. Yeah, I did it again. Oh my gravy. I found by Amy Mateo, they call her Dirty Salad. But it's Dirty Salad? Did I just say Dirty Salad? Oh yeah, I'm dizzy. Anyway, they call her Dirty Sally. It's a Silver Bell Legends novel. Sounds great. It does sound like a great book. But again, I've done it again. I've gone with they. I've got to find theirs. So I've got to start all over again. Guys, do you have a their book for me? Because I'm not finding them. Every time I find something, it's the wrong thing. Really need help with this. So I'm just saying. I could use that. But anyway, so this wasn't planning on doing a book haul, but I didn't have much to share on the reading thing, so I thought I'd tell you about what I am reading, and then it just kind of spiraled from there. So really though, yeah, I need the theirs. I needed theirs. So what you got for me? Please save me from myself. I mean, as much as this is Charles Martin, I want to read it. I'm good. It kind of goes with another book of his that I have. It looks like it's part of a sort of series. What if it's true? All about Jesus. So, I mean, it feels like they go together, right? Don't they look like they belong together-ish? Yeah. But I really can't keep buying books that I'm supposed to read, and it's, you know. Hi, how you doing? Save me. Help me find a book. Meanwhile, yeah, this is what I'm reading now, plus Ascendant. That's all I got for you. Tell me you're reading more than I am this month. Lie to me. It'll make me feel better. But I'm here, and I'm back, and I'm in the Shedifice, and it feels so good. Okay. All right, I'm fine. I'm going to go now so I can edit this and get it to you. Anyway, I will see you on Thursday, and have a good week.